Hi everyone, welcome back. It's been a while, but I finally got around to finishing this thrift haul. I actually filmed it quite some time ago, but I didn't have the energy to put everything together until now. So these are all the pieces I thrifted over the past 2 months, and I can happily say that a few of them have already become staples in my wardrobe. Starting with this bag, I've mainly been using it for work, and I've been really enjoying the clasp closure. There's something so satisfying and a bit nostalgic about it, and I think it's because my very first school bag when I was 6 had the same closing mechanism. It also makes me think about the very popular and duped Margot bag from the row, but this one is obviously a bit older, and I do think I like this style a bit more because it has more details. Like the way the straps are attached with those three studs and a diamond shape, it almost feels a bit medieval to me. And then the second bag is from the brand Nobody, which I'm always searching for on Vinted because the quality is really good and they're usually quite affordable. And I think that's because most of their bags are more structured, while a lot of people tend to go for slouchy styles right now. But personally, I like a mix. This one is very structured. It really holds its shape and the handle is quite stiff, so you can't just throw it over your shoulder without adjusting it constantly. So comfort-wise, I'll always lean towards a slouchy bag, but this still definitely has a place in my wardrobe. I tend to wear quite relaxed and slouchy clothing, so a structured bag adds a really nice contrast. The third bag I got has also quickly become a staple because I've been wearing it all the time. It's probably because it's slouchy, fits a lot without feeling bulky, and I love the silver details on the sides. It's originally from Calvin Klein, and this is one of those bags that goes with everything. I wouldn't say it necessarily adds a lot to an outfit, especially because I do tend to wear a lot of darker toned clothing items. My most worn jacket is also black, so sometimes you can't even see it that well. So it doesn't stand out, but it also doesn't compete with anything, which also can be a big plus in your wardrobe. And the last bag was a bit of a disappointment. I was so excited when I found this one on Vinted because I love this baguette shape and the color is perfect. It's this faded beige with slightly yellow and orange tones. The leather is super soft and the worn in look is actually really beautiful. But I know that if I used leather cream on it, the color would completely change. So I'm not going to do that. I already have an orangey bag and I've noticed I don't reach for it that often. But the disappointing part is that the previous owner glued all the pockets shut. I think they did it because the closure stopped working, but I still don't really understand it. I'd much rather have dysfunctional closures than completely unusual pockets. And you can also see the glue up close, so it's not that neatly done, I would say. But that said, I still decided to keep it because I love everything else about it. And honestly, I'm someone who constantly loses my phone or my keys in little compartments anyway. So maybe it's not the worst thing to not have access to these little pockets. One item I've actually already decluttered is this pair of sunglasses. I also got them on Vinted, and style-wise, they were exactly what I was looking for. And honestly, they still are. The size was perfect. I love the gold detailing, and the brown frame was a nice change since all my other sunglasses are completely black. But the quality just wasn't that good. They didn't really protect my eyes from the sun at all, and the world kind of looked grey through them, and they were also slightly too big for my head. So unfortunately, they had to go. But if you know a brand that makes something similar, definitely let me know. Then the next item has the look of a denim shirt, but it's actually incredibly soft. And every time I buy a denim jacket or shirt, I end up regretting it because I don't like how stiff and heavy it feels. But this one gives you that denim look without the weight or rigidity, which I really love. Pieces like this always get me very excited for warmer spring weather because right now it's around 10 degrees outside, so we're not quite there yet. But I'm really looking forward to the time when I don't need layers and can just throw something like this on and go. I know a lot of people argue that to really be into fashion, you have to be into fall and winter layering, but I feel like I enjoy my clothes so much more when I just can wear them as they are. But that's also because where I live, the time is much shorter. Then I picked up a sweater in a thrift store that I'm very happy about. It's very simple, it's relaxed cotton and a v-neck, which is a style I already have quite a lot of in my wardrobe. But this one really stood out to me because of the color. It's this bright lime green, and I've had it for almost 2 months now, and I've been wearing it a lot. Especially layered under my wool v-neck sweaters. It just peeks through at the neckline and adds a really nice pop of color. And for me, it's one of those pieces that makes getting dressed a bit more fun, even when you're just wearing something quite basic, especially at the end of winter where I have grown tired of all of my sweaters. And it's also a nice way to bring a bit more color into my wardrobe, since I do tend to gravitate towards more neutral and darker tones. Speaking of neutrals that I haven't had the chance to wear yet, this is a very lightweight raincoat from Max. And there are certain pieces I almost have to convince myself to buy. They're usually the more practical items, things that don't immediately excite me when I see them on a hanger, like a raincoat. But funnily enough, those often are the pieces that I'm the most grateful for because they're exactly what I'm missing in my wardrobe. And a lightweight raincoat is definitely one of those things for me. I thrifted this one and it's a very easy functional piece, and I also tend to forget when I'm shopping that I actually do enjoy a slightly more sporty look from time to time. So this kind of piece is something I think I will gravitate a lot to in later spring and summer. But I think it's also the more sporty items where I tend to not want to spend a lot of money on. Then we have more of a winter piece, but honestly, I will still need items like this for another month, I think. And I love a turtleneck in this style because it kind of gives the funnel neck effect without actually clinging to your neck, which I find a lot more comfortable. I only recently realized that I like this silhouette after buying a similar one a couple of months ago, and all the other turtlenecks I had before always kind of felt like a choker to me. And I picked this one up on Vinted along with another very similar one that I'll show in a minute. It's actually just the same but in another color. And I do think they might be slightly shrunken, but honestly, that kind of works in my favor. I think that's one of the perks of being a bit shorter. If you just search for something like shrunken wool sweater on secondhand apps, you can find an absolute goldmine of pieces. And this one is in a really nice blue, and I especially love it paired with a camel bag. It's actually because of this combination that I decided to keep the bag in the end. And then I have the exact same one, same style, same fit from the same seller, just in a completely different color. This one is a mix of green, purple, and pink, and because of that, it has a totally different vibe to me. It actually makes sense to have both, I think, even though they are technically the same piece. Right now, I don't really prefer one over the other. The blue one I'll reach for when I'm feeling more minimal and basic and maybe also a little bit more put together. And this one feels a bit more playful to me. The colors give me very early 2000 vibes, so I tend to wear it when I'm in a more nostalgic mood. It also feels slightly more relaxed because of that. So that was everything for this thrift haul. Let me know which item was your favorite. And I also love to know if there are any brands you're really excited to thrift right now, or what pieces you found or have been looking for. And thank you so much for being here. See you soon.